If I had $10 million tomorrow fall into my bank account, would I still do this business? In this episode, I'd like to share with you the lessons I've learned for being in business for 25 years and having 3 different major businesses. So let's get into it. The first business I ran was a property development business, and this business taught me 4 big lessons. But going back to how I got started was that I got out of university and I lectured for several years at university. Decided academia was not for me. So I went into property development because I had some capital and I read some books on property development. So I got excited about it, bought some property, flipped them, made some good money, and kept doing that for a little while. Then I got into bigger and bigger projects and eventually got into multi-million-dollar projects. But when the global financial crisis hit in 2008, I got wiped out because I was involved in all these big projects and there was no funding from any of the banks or any investors. So we basically lost everything at that point in time. It was a painful experience, no doubt, but here are the 4 lessons that I've learned from this experience. The first lesson, I must say, is that I got overconfident. In my early days of property development, I was doing a lot of small projects. Flipping houses, buying single plots of land, doing them up, building a house, and then selling them. And I had great success with that. However, when I moved into the bigger projects, the multi-unit developments, the industrial real estate, I even got into a hotel project. Honestly, that was beyond my knowledge and competency. So I grew too big too fast because I was overconfident and I did not stick to my lane. If I had stuck to residential, doing single property homes, I think I'll be fine. But I got into projects that were too big, beyond my understanding and my capability. And the worst part is, that's lesson 2, is that I did not actually have the right partners to do these projects with me. I had partners with the same level of experience, same level of knowledge to try and do these huge projects, which was a mistake. And so when the GFC hit, we crumbled. We did not know what to do. So lesson number 1 is do not be overconfident. Lesson number 2 is find the right people to work with. And at the same time, in hindsight, what I should have done, or what I would have done, is that I would have found better partners to partner with me on projects where it was beyond my capacity. Because ultimately, those were good projects. However, the people involved with the projects, like me, not so good in terms of capability, experience, and expertise. So that was my mistake. And if I had done that, I would have been maybe a bit more successful there. So the 4th thing that I maybe should have done is to get mentoring, get educated, which I did not do because at that point in time, I was so confident, I was successful, and I thought I could do anything as long as I have positive thinking. But the truth is, I should have maybe enrolled in courses, maybe spend time hiring mentors, spend time reading, spend time researching how to do bigger projects. And if I had done that, maybe I would have actually put through and gotten some good success in those projects. And I guess if there was a final thing that I could add, is that I did not see the global financial crisis happening because I was so stuck into the projects that I did not see what was happening in the macroeconomy, and I totally missed the fact that there was a global financial crisis brewing, a housing bubble happening. If I had been more aware and I had closed all my positions, I would have weathered the storm. However, once again, came down to the overconfidence, putting blinders on my eyes, and I could not see what was actually happening. So those are the lessons from my first business. And if I were to do that business again, that is what I would have done. My second business was a self-publishing service business that helped people to publish their books and then sell them. And here are 5 lessons I learned from that business. But first, let me give you a bit of background on this business. This business was originally a small suburban print shop. And then what happened is that we got some deals where we actually got a publishing house to do their book printing for them. So we bought all this equipment, invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in this equipment. And after a while, this publishing house just stopped giving us the printing jobs. So we were stuck with all these machines. So what we decided to do then is, well, since we are geared for book printing, why not let's help authors to self-publish their books. So we created a whole suite of services to help people to actually self-publish. And this business actually grew to a 7-figure business. We were actually talking with one of Australia's leading media houses to acquire our business. Unfortunately, that deal didn't happen, but it was quite a successful business at one point in time. However, it eventually got destroyed, and I will share why it got destroyed and the lessons I learned. So first of all, we had the wrong people in the business doing the wrong things. Sure, there were some good people, but there was one person in particular where he was great at sales, and he had a hobby interest in developing tech, right? Software and stuff. And he said, hey, I could really streamline our business and create this whole software thing that we can run the business entirely from. So I said, okay, what do you need? And he said, okay, I need to get into this and I need to hire all these people. Long story short, we invested hundreds of thousands of dollars and basically got nothing out of it. So in hindsight, I should not have spent that money and engaged this person to actually build that thing because he did not have the experience. He was just using us as a guinea pig in order to further his hobby, which was a wrong thing on my part to actually say yes to go ahead with it. And I had the blinkers on because I had invested so much sunk costs in this whole software. I did not know when to pull out. I should have just cut the funding and said, hey, actually, there are other off-the-shelf softwares out there that we can subscribe to. May not do as great a job as what we want, but it does 80% of it without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment into the software. That's what I should have done. But my pride, my ego about the sunk costs, and I just could not move away from it. And of course, I would say that person kept promising that, hey, we're about to finish it. We're about to finish it. So I was let down the garden path at the same time. But once again, forced back to me because I trusted the wrong person. And I also did not know when to pull the plug. So that's on me. So 2 lessons learned there. 1, trust the right people. And 2, cut your losses when you know it's not going right. Don't keep going. Swallow your pride and move forward from it. Eventually, the business collapsed because I believe of 2 things. 1 is that I thought I could manage the business remotely from a different country with my team in Australia. So that was one fatal mistake. Second fatal mistake is I did not see the impact that Amazon and other competitors would have in the marketplace until it was too late. So the first one, I basically at that point in time decided to relocate to Malaysia. And I thought, great, I can live in Malaysia. I can have a third of the cost of living and still earn the same amount of money when I was in Australia and having a team there. Now, at this point in time, the team had gone kind of virtual, right? So we did not have any physical location anymore. We had people working remotely from home. I'll be honest, I did not manage that properly. I just trusted them to do the right thing. And eventually, what happened was I realized that that person that was doing sales for me in Australia was actually taking clients' money behind my back and not delivering on the products that we promised. So that was super bad. That was partly my fault because I did not have regular meetings with her and I just thought she could just run with it. And so one thing led to another and, the business crumbled from within. Secondly, competitive pressures. I did not see the impact that Amazon would have in terms of the free publishing service that they offered. And if I had seen that, I would have pivoted faster. And maybe I would have pivoted into coaching self-publishers and so on. So that's another lesson I learned from that, is that if something big is happening, we need to pivot fast. Similarly to where I did not see the global financial crisis happening with the property development business, I was blindsided by Amazon as well in this case. No hard feelings, Jeff Bezos. I know you had to do what you had to do, but yeah, that really caught us off guard. So there you go, guys. Those were the 5 lessons that I learned from my self-publishing business. Number 1, make sure you have the right people doing the right thing. Number 2, be willing to cut losses when you see things are not going right. Number 3, have good leadership and communication with your team, which I did not have. And number 4 is just to be aware of what's happening in the market space and be able to pivot faster. Finally, number 5, just having that flexibility to be able to pivot fast and not be attached emotionally to what you have built before. I was too attached emotionally, and that's why I did not pivot faster. So those are the 5 lessons from my second business. And finally, we come to Radical Marketing, which is the marketing agency that I'm running now. And here are 6 lessons that I've learned that I wish I knew earlier when I started this business. So the first thing is, when Radical Marketing started, I started it as a lifestyle business. I did not want the stress of managing people, of building a big organization. All I wanted at that point in time was to have 3 or 4 clients and pay me a good income. So it's like a job kind of thing. I was just thinking along that track, and I achieved that. But the thing is, for years, I was stuck at that level because I did not think bigger. I just thought, yep, I'm happy, I'm comfortable where I'm at, I don't want to grow it further. So for years, we were stuck at a certain level of revenue because I was just comfortable, until when COVID hit and basically all my clients disappeared. Then I realized, hey, maybe we should think bigger, because having 3 or 4 clients is super risky, especially having one client at that time that's paying like the majority of my bill. So that's where I decided, okay, we need more clients because we need to diversify our income streams so that we are more stable in the future and we don't go to zero overnight. So as we grew, I had to hire more people. And here's the thing, because I have had experienced so much bad people in my previous 2 businesses, I was extremely careful this time when selecting people to work with me. And thankfully, so far, I have a great team that I have built, and all of them share my vision. And I have become a better leader as a result of having a team. And I don't want to make the same mistakes that I did in the past. So I have a clear mission for everybody, and everybody in the team, yes, they're given autonomy. And at the same time, we're working towards that same goal and that same vision that the company has set out. So everybody in the team is enthusiastic, and I can trust them to do the right thing because they all bought into the vision. So I think that is a great lesson in terms of having a clear vision and having the right people to help you fulfill that vision. Now, the other thing that I learned as well, the third thing I would say that I learned, is that having passion for your business is so important. See, I think that's one of the things that I didn't have in the past with my self-publishing business, for example. Look, it was fun, it was nice, and I enjoyed doing it to some extent. But ultimately, I always ask myself this question, whether you have a passion for your business or not, is that if I had $10 million tomorrow fall into my bank account, would I still do this business? And for Radical Marketing, it is absolutely yes. I would still love to help businesses to grow. I would still love to do copywriting. I would still love to plan marketing strategy. It is my passion. I love it, right? So I think it is so important to clearly have that passion for what you are doing and use that litmus test to see whether you are truly passionate about your business. And one of the things I learned with the self-publishing business versus radical marketing is that when we were doing the self-publishing business, it was a very transactional model where we had to constantly strive to get more clients all the time. And that was tiring. But with radical marketing, we have a recurring business model. Our clients pay us every month because we are rendering them a service every month. So that eliminates a lot of the feast and famine cycle in the business because we have that constant revenue coming in. And that gives us that base to actually acquire more clients and continue to grow the revenues of the business. So that is one thing that I learned as well from previous business, is that build in a recurring revenue model into your business. Otherwise, it's just tough where you have to keep selling, and finding new clients all the time. And the other lesson I learned recently that just came back to me is that not to have myopia in terms of what we are doing. So for years, we have been helping businesses to grow by promoting their webinars and their seminars and building the funnels for the webinars and events and seminars. But then I sat down and asked myself, what are we really doing here? And I realized that, hey, if we just help businesses to grow with webinars and seminars, that's fine. But what is our ultimate goal? And our ultimate goal is to help our clients' businesses to double. So that's why recently we have introduced a whole range of new services with AI and other services because we realized that, hey, if we stick to this one thing, we are limiting ourselves and our clients as to how they can grow. It does not fulfill the vision of helping 200 businesses to double their businesses in the next 3 years. We have decided to incorporate new services so that our clients can grow their businesses. That is shutting down the myopia that I previously had with my self-publishing business, where we were just doing self-publishing businesses. We don't want to do coaching. And the fifth and final lesson I've learned recently by reflecting is that when tough times happen, that is where you need to continue to hustle. Like in previous times with like the self-publishing business, for example, when tough times happen, I just wanted to escape. I didn't want to deal with it. But now with radical marketing, when tough times happen, I redouble my efforts because I just work through the grind. I work extra hours. I just want to turn things around. I don't have the luxury of just escaping, watching TV, and then coming back to the problem later. The whole goal here is to power through and just take that grind and take that pain and just work through it. Because I know every time I work through the pain, redouble my efforts during tough times, that's when the rewards happen at the end of it. Now, it may take 2 weeks, it may take 2 months, but eventually that reward does happen. And that's starting to happen with my business too, because in the past 12 months, we have been going through cycles of up and downs. And I decided, nah, this is not it. We need to put a stop to this and just get back on that growth trend. So I have redoubled my efforts in the past 2 months. And now we are starting to pick up again and go back on that uptrend. So those are the 5 lessons that I've learned from operating radical marketing in the past 11 years that I can think of and I can share with you today. And finally, I want to share with you several conclusions from my whole 25 years with these 3 different businesses. If I look at it, here are the 5 things I wish I knew before I started any business 25 years ago. Now, here's the first thing. First thing is to protect your confidence at all costs. Seriously, when I went through the downturn in the property business, when I went through closing up the self-publishing business, that really affected me personally. I let it affect me personally. I really got depressed. I really got down. And, people I talked to, some of them didn't help. They say, dude, if I were you, I would jump off a building. It was that bad, okay? But here's the thing, right? If I had just simply detached all the events from me and realized it is not me, but my decisions and certain outside factors that caused what was happening in my business, that caused the failures, and that I could actually do something about it by taking the right actions, honestly, I would have suffered a lot less because I would have turned things around, pivoted much faster than if I had let those things affect my confidence. So I think it's so important to say, hey, don't let this thing affect my confidence, and do whatever it takes to rebuild that confidence fast if you lose it. So what worked for me personally is going back to the gym, getting fit again, reflecting on the small wins, celebrating them, and reflecting how far I've come, and also the lessons that I've learned. Knowing those lessons I've learned makes me know that I'm not going to repeat them again. And finally, this is the one thing, is if you choose hard, instead of going down the easy way, choose the hard way when you lack confidence. Just go through the grind. That is what builds confidence as well. So that is lesson number 1 from 25 years of being in business. Lesson number 2 is having a passion for your work and what you do. That will keep you through the hard times and the good times as well. See, if I look back, all 3 businesses, first 2, it was for money. The third one, that is my true passion, which is radical marketing, my current business. And once again, it is all about, if I had all the money in the world, would I still be doing what I am doing today? And if the answer is yes, like for me, then you are doing the right thing. And if the answer is no, then maybe consider switching or pivoting. Now, here's the thing as well. Passion does not happen, it's not found. It is something that you develop over time. So if you do not have a passion for something at this point in time, the good thing is just start something. You will either figure out, okay, this is not what I'm really passionate about, or you develop a passion in it. Either way, you can't lose. Third thing from my 25 years in business that I've learned is that the right people is key. Finding the right people to work with you is absolutely critical if you want great success in business. And as I mentioned in my lessons just now with my previous 2 businesses, I did not have the right people, and I did not have the foresight to actually get the right people in that can do the job for me. I was too focused on my relationships with those people rather than seeing, hey, is this the right person for the right job? And if not, then move on, change people, find the right people to help you to grow to the next level or to do whatever you want to achieve in business. Because finding the wrong people will absolutely destroy your business. Fourth lesson, success in business is about consistency. Detach yourself from the emotional highs and lows. Like if you have a big win in business, go out, have a dinner, celebrate, but then get to work the next day. Do the same thing that you've always been doing before, because it is what got you that success in the first place. And as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself too. And when things go bad, stay consistent, stay on the path. Yes, reflect your approaches to make sure your approach is right. But I realized that it is the consistency, even when you don't want to do it. When times are so tough, you're like going, should I just stop this business and do something else? That is when I realized I need to just sit down, double down on my efforts, and just stay consistent. Whether it's like outreaching for 2 hours a day, whether it's like spending $5,000 on ads a month, just keep that consistency. And then if you keep that consistency, I realize is that business will continue to grow regardless of how you feel. And that is what you want as an entrepreneur. I know because I've been there, experienced it before, and I know that consistency is key to everything, to success. And I know that consistency is key to success. And the fifth and final lesson that I'll share from my 25 years of business is that reflection and awareness is so important. Like I was talking to a prospect this week. He's been in business for like 30 years. And he was just sharing with me his wins, where he started, where he came from. And then he's like, wow, I've actually achieved a lot. And I said, yeah, absolutely you have. And I think I told him, dude, you need to reflect on your successes because what you have achieved is quite amazing. And I think this is what I should have done more of, is to spend time reflecting both on my wins and my failures every single week. What have I done wrong this week that has caused me not to get results? And what have I done right this week that has caused me to get results? And look back on the past 3 months, past 1 year, and think, what was it that I did that brought me this success or brought me this negative result? What have I stopped doing? And are there any threats to the business? Like AI, is that going to crush my business? Because now everybody thinks they can be a copywriter by using ChatGPT. So those are things that I need to reflect on and how I can change these things into opportunities. So without that time of reflection, that is what caused my previous 2 businesses to crash and burn. Whereas now, because I'm spending more time in reflection and awareness and self-awareness, this is what is helping Radical Marketing to continually grow, pivot, and get better all the time, because I have that time to reflect and to strategize and to look at what's working and what's not. So those are the 5 lessons that I've learned from being in business for 25 years. And I hope you enjoyed that. So thank you for watching this video. I know it's kind of long because it's 25 years condensed into one video, but I hope you got something out of this. And I hope that you can take my lessons and help your business grow faster. So I'll see you in the next episode.